The pounding on the door ripped through the quiet of my small Chicago apartment, yanking me from a deep sleep. I glanced at the clock, 5:47 a.m. The city outside was still cloaked in that hazy pre-dawn gray, the kind that makes everything feel suspended. Unreal. No one knocks like that at this hour unless the world's on fire. My heart thudded as I threw on a robe. Years of working as a social worker kicking in, maybe a client in crisis, or a neighbor needing help. The knocks came harder. Insistent. Like they owned the place. I called out, "Coming," but it didn't stop. My fingers gripped the knob, bracing for whatever storm was on the other side. When I swung it open, the chill from the hallway rushed in. But it was nothing compared to the cold shock of seeing him, my brother. Derek. Standing there with two worn duffels at his feet. His eyes weren't scared, they burned with that familiar greed. The kind that says, "This is mine now." He didn't hug me, didn't explain, just shoved past, bags in hand, and dropped them on my living room floor. "Pack up, Sarah. I'm taking over." His voice was flat, like he'd already won. I stood there, door still open, wind whipping my hair, trying to process. Disbelief clawed at me. But underneath it, something darker stirred, the slow burn of betrayal I'd felt simmering for years. I shut the door slowly, my hands shaking not from fear, but from the rage building like a pressure cooker. Derek. What the hell? This is my home. I rent it from Mom and Dad. I've paid every cent. Fixed every damn thing that broke. He smirked, kicking off his shoes onto my rug, the one I'd bargained for at a flea market after scraping together tips from my second job. Not anymore. They agreed. Time for you to move on. The words landed like a slap. But I didn't flinch. Instead, I felt that old wound reopen, the one from childhood, where I was always the afterthought. The reliable one who faded into the background while he got the spotlight. My phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. Mom's name flashed. I answered, voice steady but edged. "Mom, Derek's here. He's saying I have to leave. Tell me this is a joke." Her sigh was heavy. Practiced. "Sarah, we've talked about this. Your brother's going through a rough patch. He needs the stability. You've had your time there, be grateful we let you stay as long as we did." Grateful. The word twisted in my gut like a knife. I'd turned that rundown apartment into a haven with my own sweat, repainting walls after long shifts counseling troubled families, unclogging drains at midnight, saving for that couch where I collapsed after helping others rebuild their lives. And now, it was a favor they'd bestowed. Revocable at whim. The silence on my end stretched, thick with unspoken hurt. "Family helps family," she added, as if that justified erasing me. Hanging up, I turned to Derek, who was already rifling through my mail like it was his. The entitlement radiated off him. The same way it always had, jobless for years, bouncing from one failed scheme to another, always landing soft because our parents cushioned every fall. "He's got potential," they'd say. While my steady climb was dismissed as expected, I was the invisible glue, holding things together without applause. But in that moment, staring at my scattered life, defiance sparked. This wasn't just about a roof, it was about them stripping my dignity. Piece by piece, I swallowed the scream rising in my throat, letting silence be my shield for now. But inside, the tension coiled tighter. A promise of the explosion to come. The drive to my parents' house later that morning felt like navigating a minefield. Chicago's winter streets blurred past, salt-crusted and unforgiving, mirroring the ice in my chest. I gripped the wheel, replaying Mom's words, each one fueling the slow-building fury. By the time I pulled into their driveway, the suburban facade looked mocking neat lawn, warm lights, hiding the rot inside, Dad opened the door, his face stern. Mechanic's hands still stained from years in the garage even after retirement. Mom hovered behind, arms crossed. No hugs, no coffee offered. Just straight to the kitchen table, where judgments were always served cold. "You're overreacting," Mom started, her voice laced with that faux concern that always masked control. "Derek needs this more. You've always been the strong one, why can't you share?" Share. As if my home was a toy from childhood. I leaned forward, voice low but sharp. "I've paid rent on time for 5 years. I replaced the leaky roof last spring out of my pocket. What has he done besides show up and demand?" Dad grunted, avoiding my eyes. "He's your brother. Blood means sacrifice. You don't need all that space anyway, a single woman like you." The sexism hit like a gut punch, disguised as practicality. But it only fanned the flames. They saw me as expendable. The dutiful daughter whose efforts were footnotes in Derek's epic tale of potential. I pressed harder. Questions like arrows. Who covered the utilities when you fell behind? Who turned that dump into something livable while Derek partied away his 20s? Silence thickened the air, their defenses cracking just a fraction. Mom's fingers drummed the table. Dad shifted in his seat. But they doubled down. "Family isn't about tallying scores," Dad said, his tone final. "It's about who needs it most. And right now, that's him." The dismissal burned deeper than anger. It was erasure, reducing my years of grind to nothing special. As I left, the door clicking shut behind me, betrayal settled heavy in my bones. They weren't just taking my home, they were rewriting my worth. But in the car, hands trembling on the wheel, I whispered to myself, silence isn't surrender. It's strategy. The tension inside me densed, ready to erupt. Back at the apartment, the invasion had escalated. Derek wasn't just squatting, he was redecorating. Measuring tape in hand, he paced the rooms, muttering about his office, his color scheme. My heart pounded as I watched him mark walls I'd painted, claim spaces I'd earned. "This isn't yours," I said, voice steady despite the storm inside. He laughed, dismissive. "Get over it. You're good at disappearing quietly, that's your thing." The humiliation seared. But I held back, letting the hurt fuel something colder, resolve. Then Dad showed up, clapping Derek on the back like a proud king crowning his heir. "Looks good, son. Should have been yours from the start." I stood there, invisible in my own home, as they chuckled over my curtains, my rug. Their laughter wasn't joy, it was a weapon, grinding me down. In that moment, the pain crystallized, years of being the shadow, the supporter, while they idolized his failures. But as they lounged in my space, I felt the shift. No more quiet compliance. The damming of emotions was about to break. That night, alone after they left, I sat on the edge of the bed, the echo of their mockery ringing in my ears. "We only let you stay as a favor." Dad's words looped, each replay twisting the knife of betrayal. I'd given everything: time, money, silence, and they'd turned it into dust. But in the dark, a plan took root, born from the raw ache of being unseen. I wouldn't scream or beg. I'd act. By morning, their calls came, laced with guilt tripping. "You're selfish," Mom accused. "After all we've done," Dad added. "Stop playing victim." Victim. The word flipped the script, they were the thieves. Yet I was the problem. The hypocrisy ignited me. Selfish is stealing someone's sweat and calling it inheritance, I thought. The emotional weight pressed, but I channeled it into quiet preparation. Gathering receipts, leases, proof of my invisible labor. The party Derek threw was the tipping point. The bung no I'd been damning. Laughter spilled from my door as I approached. Strangers filling my space. Toasting his home. My stomach churned at the sight, guests praising my decor. Crediting him. Then I saw it, the family photo on the wall. My face excised. Replaced by a seamless trio of them. "Where's your sister?" someone asked. Derek smirked. She was never really here. The public erasure hit like a wave, drowning me in humiliation. But instead of crumbling, I stepped center stage. Voice calm amid the chaos. "Celebrate the truth," I said. Spreading documents, receipts, bills. My name on everything. Whispers rippled. She owns it all. Derek's facade cracked. Parents scrambling to defend. Family matters more than papers. Mom snapped. But the room turned. Judgment shifting to them. I pulled down the frame. The glass thud echoing my resolve. They'd wanted me gone quietly. Instead, I exposed their rot. The drama unfolding in real time, leaving them stripped bare before witnesses. The next morning, the apartment was a ghost of itself. I'd moved out overnight, taking every item I'd bought: the couch, lamps, rugs, leaving only echoes and bare walls. Derek's panic hit first. "Where's everything?" Parents arrived, faces paling at the vacancy. "What did you do?" Mom demanded. I stood in the doorway, keys in hand. "Took what's mine. You can have the shell." Their rage exploded, accusations of betrayal. Selfishness, but it bounced off me. The emptiness amplified my words. "You erased me. Now feel the void." Neighbors peered in. Whispers turning to outright judgment. Their victory party had backfired. Public shame clung to them like smoke. I pressed the keys into Dad's palm. The clink of final punctuation. Walking away, the weight lifted. But the cost lingered, the scar of lost family. The price of reclaiming self. In my new, smaller place, silence wrapped me like a balm. But it carried echoes of pain. Mornings brought coffee and quiet reflection. Each sip a reminder of freedom earned through fire. Word spread, Chicago's grapevine buzzed with their downfall. Derek's calls came desperate. "You ruined me." I replied coolly, "No. You did." Parents pleaded loyalty. But I held firm. "You evicted me from your love first." Their finances crumbled without my rent. Reputations tarnished as allies turned away. Vindication was bittersweet, the drama of their unraveling a mirror to my wounds. I built anew, friends by choice. A life unshadowed. They reaped the emptiness they sowed, paying the ultimate price for betrayal. In letting go, I found myself whole. The story mine alone.